Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Rama Hari Hari Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Rama Hari Hari Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Rama Hari Hari Hare Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Hare Rama Rama Hari Hari Hare Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Hare Rama Rama Hari Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Rama Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hey Lalita Madhava, welcome. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. I ran out of internet, man. So we're back, man. I had to wait for the stores to open and everything, coffee shop to open. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. I met a nice guy here at the coffee shop here. He might be joining us here on the... he went back home, so he might join us here on the thing. Hare Krishna. Anybody wants to come on, you can come on too. I put the link in the thing here. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Can you hear me okay? And can you hear the music? There's a nice blend. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hey Evo, welcome. How you doing? Haven't heard from you much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Why don't you come on live sometime? Show us your show us your beautiful presence, and do a live too. Plus, you can come on here if you can make it sometime, if it works for you. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Nityananda Gauranga, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda Gauranga, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda Gauranga, Nityananda Gauranga. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, 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 Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Come with us if you want to live. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya. I mean it more than he does, man. He's just talking about living in your body, man. Come with us if you want to live spiritually, man. Now that's life. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya. If you want to live the spiritual dream, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Exactly, Freddie. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Sri Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Sri Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda. So, reading from Caitanya Charitamrita. Or, yes. Okay, Madhya Lila, let's go some of these teachings. The process of devotional service. Chapter 22 of Madhya Lila, Caitanya Charitamrita. All this is text number 2. Text number 1. I offer my respectful obeisances. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is an ocean of transcendental mercy. He is an ocean of transcendental mercy. He is an ocean of transcendental mercy. And although the subject matter of Bhakti Yoga is very confidential, he has nonetheless manifested it so nicely, even in this age of Kali, this age of quarrel. Age of Kali, age of quarrel. You notice a lot of quarrels going on. Yeah, even in the Bible it predicted this kind of stuff. Yeah. A lot of quarreling, rumors of wars and stuff like this. The bicycle, to me, I just want to go with the bicycle. We may have to. Uh, I offer my respectful obeisances. Oh, all glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all glories to Nityananda Prabhu, and all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya said, I have described one's relationship with Krishna in various ways. This subject matter of all the Vedas. This is the subject matter of all the Vedas. Krishna is the center of all activities. See? Krishna is the center of all activities. So that's very deep. See? How is that so? Krishna is the center of all. Yeah. If you notice, even you can see how practical that is. If you're looking at your cell phone or computer, see? Krishna is still the center of your activities because this is Krishna. See? And what the Lord came to teach us is there's a Ross there. People, they're looking at their computers, screens, and they're looking at the cell phones. If you look at their face, look how happy they look, or how bored they may look, or how what do you call it, passionate they may look, in the modes of nature, causing by looking at that cell phone or looking at their computer screen. See? Look at most people, is that Krishna is the center of their activities, even in the material world, because these are the material pastimes of the Lord. But it's not a very happy Ras. You could see how people look. They don't look very happy, do they? But if you notice my face, you notice I'm looking at a computer screen. You notice? And I'm looking at myself, and I'm looking at other people looking at their computer screens. See, Prabhupada taught the face is the index of the mind and the heart. What's going on in there? See, I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at other people, but what is the difference in the content? In Facebook, they talk about all these, what do they call the influencers? They're always looking up for more content, right? Well, I also looking up for more content. But this content really puts a smile on your face. This content puts the smile that God has on his face. You know, the content that people have usually put up, it gets people, in the modes going. Usually the content is not very relaxing. Yeah, it's agitating. Oh my God, let's put the mask on. Oh my God, let's go get our little injection. The content, see what is talked about is called the content. See? So the content is also Krishna in the modes of nature. But see, Lord Chaitanya came to teach about his spiritual manifestation that you have to wake up to. You must be, like Jesus said, you must be born again to perceive the kingdom of God. See, this born again thing lets you perceive spiritual vibration, lets you perceive the vibration in the scriptures. So you can abandon all variety of religions and take shelter of the essence of the scriptures, the confidential part of it. See, this bhakti yoga is so confidential. And Lord Chaitanya and his real associates, they what do you call? They teach it very nicely, very relevantly, very clearly. Dopamine, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's right. You see, that's still within it's a bodily. See, dopamine is a bodily experience. See, that's why you can watch okay, for example, watch an exercise video or yoga video, and you're looking and you're doing it, and you get the dopamine response, which makes you feel good. But that's bodily. The spiritual body makes the devotee feel good. Eh? The dopamine effect, or maybe exercise something, could put you in a good place with that. I mean, otherwise, if it's like body, mind, and spirit. If your body is not relaxed, if it's not stretched out and exercised, it's hard to sit down and chant and awaken the Lord in the heart, because your body needs to get some attention. In this way, the body is kind of a guru too, to say, hey man, get me out there, walk me like a dog, or do something, stretch me or something, so you can sit down and chant. I mean, that's what I have to do. I have to actually, I can't just sit down and chant all the time. I need to move the body around. They call that prescribed duties for the body. One of my neighbors see me happy, but say I don't want to be doing what he's doing. Yeah, and you know why they say that is they don't understand. That's all it is. They don't understand. Okay? So Krishna is the center of all activities. Krishna means not only Krishna, but one of his manifestations, Christ. When people get together and worship, that activates the spirit, the Holy Spirit, in their spiritual body. Some Christians have that spirit-filled worship. Okay, activates their spiritual body, and they feel the spiritual body makes them feel good. Now they know how to have spiritual happiness. Most people don't. As far as they go is usually the dopamine effect or the oxytocin effect that comes from falling in love. But it's falling in love with somebody's body. That's all. It's not falling in love with God. That's the spirit. That's the spirit nature to do that. Our spiritual body, our spiritual form. That's what we're all about here. How to teach and distinguish all these things so people can find the supreme happiness, which is awakening the spiritual body and reposing it in the spiritual form of God. Yes, yes, spiritual form. See? But we cannot perceive that form until our spiritual body is awakened. That's the idea of having a bona fide guru, a real guru. See, bona fide means their spiritual body is awakened and they're qualified to relish these transcendental relations with God that nobody knows. See, God means great mystery. Nobody knows what that means. Oh yeah, God. Oh, great mystery. I don't know. Or they speculate. Oh, God is like this, and He's a good person, and all that. No, He's beyond even good. More than that. He's more than good. He's really good. So good that most people can't perceive how good He is. Okay? You have to be self-realized, enlightened, truly, genuinely. Okay? Most of these teachers who trying to represent, they're like Pharisees representing God, right? But they don't really represent the true Lord, the Lord that is beyond this world. Okay? That's what you need to find. That person in this world, those rare persons represent the spiritual dimension beyond all the modes of nature that is taught in Bhagavad Gita. See, all the coverings of the universe and the soul. See, air. Look, our soul is in here, right? Dormant, because it's covered over. Okay? Unless you're self-realized, unless you've made a connection with a bona fide representative of the Almighty beyond the modes of nature in this life or a previous one, okay? You can't perceive it. There are too many coverings over it. The soul is like pushed down, repressed. The soul repressed. See, that's why it springs up. See, from your belly, living waters will come. See, from down up. Okay? That's or they are Lord. That was Jesus said that, and Lord Chaitanya called it the arising of Krishna into the heart. Rising of Krishna. See, it rises from here. See, it raises up. It's been suppressed. See, in the association of real representatives of the spiritual dimension, they are like jump starters. They jump your dead battery, and Krishna rises up. You get purified in their association. See, so now Krishna becomes, or God, the transcendental Lord, Christ, Krishna, Allah, you know, be really, uh, was it Shiva, really becomes the center of your activities on the spiritual dimension. And that's awesome, man. That gives the highest, greatest happiness. That's called God joy, God happiness, but not the religious kind. See, a lot of people give up God because of religion. See, those persons, those Pharisees, those Brahmins, those sannyasis, generally do not represent the true Lord, the genuine one, the one above all the modes of nature. They represent a good Lord, maybe, at best, like Daksha. You know, good, yeah, but not good enough to represent the transcendental Lord. That's special. That is really special. Super goodness is pure goodness. Yeah, you need super goodness, man, because then you'll be super happy. You'll be a souped up, a superhuman being. Actually, you're a human being, but you're souped up, man. It's like a car that's got the supercharger on top of the carburetor. You become like that. You got that because you know why? Because that's true wholeness. Our true wholeness is for our soul, which is in these bodies, to to connect with the Supreme Lord. See, now that's wholeness. Now you've done your job of being here in the spiritual, in the material world. You're perfect. You can leave the spiritual dimension. You can even leave it here. Well, I'm not living in this world. I'm in this world, but not from here, man. I know that. Yeah, I experience the spiritual dimension. Have you noticed? Has anybody noticed that? Oh, not only me, but many of my friends are experiencing the spiritual dimension. Have you noticed? How many in the religious groups like ISKCON and Guatemala, can you tell if they're experiencing the spiritual dimension, or are they just kind of talking about it, speculating on it? If you come to a few classes here, you'll see that they don't know what they're talking about. None of them. None of this. Even the Radhakund Babajis. I haven't met anybody who really knows. They're all trying to get that mercy. That mercy is here, man. That mercy is flowing to whoever wants it, whoever likes what we're doing. If you like what we're doing, you got it. You like the true Lord, because what we're doing here is all spiritual, man. It's not material at all. That's why this guy, you see this face, smiles a lot, man, because this, it's just, I love this. One devotee put on Facebook today that Carolina, she puts a thing on. She says, Bhukti is material enjoyment, you know, and then something else. I forgot what she said exactly. And I said, yeah, bhakti is spiritual enjoyment of serving the transcendental name of God, the transcendental happiness of that. Why didn't she say that? Why doesn't any devotee say that? Because they're not experiencing it. They just talk about what not to have. Bhukti, no, no, no bhukti, no bhukti. And then all the comments all about, oh yeah, renounce, renounce, renounce. But no, nothing about the sweet taste, the amazing grace of relishing talking about Krishna, talking about Radha, ooh, and feeling their grace flowing in from that subject matter. Okay? Now, who's the center of our attention? Who's it? See, Krishna. Who's the center of our activities? Here, now, Krishna. See, we talk about him, we glorify his name, not because we, out of duty, out of great joy, great relish, happiness. The reason why Lord Chaitanya came here is what we're doing. Can you imagine that? People have said, even I was in a Narayan Raj group, they said, oh, that kind of, there's no, very little bhakti now. That was all back then. Oh, really? I think we revived a lot of that. And, if you have a little bhakti, there's a little bhakti here, a little coffee. You don't have to do that. I know what bhakti is. I know what bhakti is. I know what bhakti is. Bhakti is to do with the body. You can enjoy the world befittingly. Don't have too many of these. Don't have too many of anything except God. Eat to your full capacity. Taste the name of God as deeply as you can. That's the only thing that you can relish with abandon, all the way to your full capacity. This you got to be a little careful of, and all these other things, whatever it is in this world, the enjoyments of the world. See? That's it. See? And you're able to put it more in balance when you're getting some bhakti, man. See? Everything becomes less. You don't need so much. Duty comes from duty, and joy comes from joy. Coffee is a big yes. Common. Yeah, exactly. Look at Shama Sundari. She does a little coffee, I think, and she's a yogini. She's a bhakti yogini and a hatha yogini. So this subject matter of all is a matter of all the Vedas. Krishna is the center of all activities. So whether we Know it or don't know it, he's still the center. We people don't know that Krishna is the center or God's the center. A little more universal terms. People don't know that God is the center of all activities. That transcendental Lord, Krishna, God, Christ. Okay, is it, whether we if we're in focused fully on the world, which is a manifestation, then we're our intelligence is less. See, not complete, not whole, because we're fully absorbed in this, and we're not meant to be fully absorbed in this. See, that's why real sadhana is to get together like this or alone and really focus on chanting the name and get absorbed in the name so much. And you get a jump start here. Just by being here, being around devotees who can get absorbed in the name. See, the name, this name is spiritual. And you get absorbed in the name, and more the Lord become you is you're absorbing the Lord in you, the transcendental Lord, not the mundane Lord. People are so focused on the mundane world that they absorb the mundane world in them. And then they're dry, not really happy, agitated by the modes. See, forced to work, and their consciousness, their intelligence is less. See, you need to find ultimately the person whose consciousness is more because of bhakti, because of being absorbed in in this name of God, Krishna. Okay? This name of Krishna is spiritual. People don't know that. Okay? See, they need help. They need a little jump start. That's why you need the association of real devotees following in the line. See, and then you get absorbed in the name. Okay? And then the name comes in you and gives you the happiness of that name, the joy of that name. See? Yeah. Yeah, and even the spiritual greediness comes. Just like there's material greed. People become absorbed too much in money, too much in a woman or a man. See, and they become greedy for that. They become possessive, envious, jealous. See, then you're down. See? The more you get absorbed in God, in His name is spiritual. It just automatically purifies your heart, keeps everything cool, calm, peaceful. See? And people get into fear. Why? Because they're absorbed in people that are absorbed, that are fearful. Their words cause fear in others because they're fearful. See, it's an energy, and people they're driven by fear. They act in this world because of fear, fear of losing their possessions, losing control. See, so devotees, they get possession too, because when you meditate on the transcendental Lord, you come in possession of the transcendental Lord, who has the opposite effect. You become bold, you become clear, you become intelligent. See, this is the way the Maha Maya works, and the Yoga Maya is the soul becoming absorbed in the spiritual manifestation of God. See? We are always going to be individuals, always. If you're absorbed, that's why you see people get absorbed in the material energy. There's an individuality. You identify. I'm Joe Blow. Oh, and you're Jane Doe. I see. I'm Joe Blow. You're Jane Doe. See, you relate. There's a relationship. The kind of an individuality, but it's not really. It doesn't last, man. When you pass from this body, you pass into another body, and now you're Joe. You're Joe this, Joe something else, or Arnold. You're maybe an Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who knows? Maybe you have muscles. Maybe you're skinny. See, and then you have that identity. See, when we awaken spiritually, we awaken our permanent identity, permanent ID card. See, this is all temporary ID card. It's like I got this here. Let me show you. See? This is a temporal resident of Mexico. I'm only a temporary resident. See? But they have ID cards where you're a permanent resident. See? That's when your spiritual body is awakened. Now you become a permanent resident of the spiritual world. See? We can live in the Garden of Eden without the fig leaf between our soul and God forever. We just commune with the Lord whenever we want, and just relish that food, that spiritual food of communion. You notice the communion is the grape juice and the wafer. What does that represent? Communion. See, the Lord is the grape juice. That's Radha. See, in the representation of Radha, the grape juice, devotion, love, and the wafer, the qualities of the Lord, His characteristics, His beautiful transcendental nature, His transcendental name. See, this is the kind of communion you can get here. You can transcend the external semblance, the abbas, they call it semblance, the what do you call shadow, the shadow of that communion. Wouldn't that be nice? Here we have communion every day. We don't have to wait once a week, and all we get is the wafer and grape juice. It's external. It's a shadow of the truth. Eh? People come here, and then you become the priest. You be giving out communion to others. You help facilitate their communion with others. You'll be like that priest, handing out more than a wafer, though. You hand out Radha and Krishna to others. You pass that baby into them, awaken that baby in them. See, here we don't here we pass the baby and throw out the bathwater. Or wait a second. No, no, no. Here we don't throw out the bathwater is pure. That's devotion. All right, what else here? Let's see here. Now I shall speak about the characteristics of devotional service, by which one can attain the shelter of Krishna and his loving transcendental service. Ah. Now I shall speak about the characteristics of devotional service, by which one can attain the shelter of Krishna and his loving transcendental service. That's synonymous. The shelter of Krishna and his transcendental loving service. When we're engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, we have the shelter of Krishna. When we have the shelter of Krishna, we're engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. See, people don't know that. Vaishnavas don't know that in all these religious groups like ISKCON. Because here you see people engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, and they have the shelter of Krishna. They can't put two and two together because it's all about getting the shelter of Krishna. But unless you're engaged in the transcendental loving service, you don't have that shelter. You don't even know the process. See, to those who worship Krishna with loving ecstasy, Gita 10:10, I give them the understanding of how to come to me. Okay? See, that's why Lord Chaitanya can explain these characteristics that lead to the shelter of Krishna, that lead to the loving, because he's engaged in that. He's made it. Okay? And those who get the mercy have also make it so easily. Look how easily people are making it here. And just by getting this undeserved mercy to be engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord ain't even waiting for you to be perfect. He makes you perfect just by engaging in this service. Okay? Otherwise, people are trying to do the opposite. This is what they teach in religion and Vaishnavism and all of those, every one of these groups. First, be perfect. Okay? First, give up the shelter of the material world. First, renounce. Then you'll get the shelter. See, the Lord, see, people don't know the nature of Lord Chaitanya's mission. Well, we do. Ah, the mission of the Lord was to give this shelter and the transcendental loving service to the world to people who don't deserve it. That's called real mercy. That's real grace. That's what people are getting here. That's why the Vaishnavas still can't believe it. They can't believe, how can that be? No, our gurus are teaching us after many lifetimes you can get the shelter of Krishna and Radha. Prema. Prema means you got the shelter of Krishna. You're engaged in the loving service of, and we've overturned that truth, that idea, because people are. This is showing that the Lord really wants to give that mercy now. Hey man, listen up. Is there anybody gets this video? If you're in any of those groups, if you come here and give ear to these teachings, these confidential teachings, you can get the shelter of Lord Krishna. Okay? You can be engaged in the transcendental loving service or prema bhakti in this lifetime very easily without a lot of troubles. We already done this. He has nonetheless manifested it so nicely, even in this age of quarrel. The subject matter of bhakti yoga, even in this age of quarrel, isn't that amazing? He's empowering our Sangha to also surpass all this quarrel stuff. You know, if you're getting absorbed in Krishna and he's in you and you're engaging in loving service of the Lord, you become more and more or less and less inimical to others, and they become less and less inimical to you. See, you can see that rapid progress in many of the devotees here. PhD is GHD. That's a good one there, Govinda. A lot of truth in that, actually. No more further comment, though. Okay, everybody take a deep breath because I need to also. We'll do a little breathing here. See, you know, Jesus said to Philip, and this is very important. This is what Govinda is talking about, basically. We really need a spiritual PhD, don't we? Right? So Philip said, or Jesus said first, he said, you know the way to the spiritual world now. So I'm going to go. You already know the way. And Philip and probably others on it. What do you mean, Lord? If you go, we won't know the way. See? So he knew in a sense, but he didn't know. So Jesus frankly told him, see, you said true. I am the way. See? I am the truth. I am the life. See? That's spiritual master. That's a bona fide spiritual master. If you are not like that, you are not a bona fide spiritual master. You have to be the life of the spiritual world, man. You have to bring that through and awaken that in others. Otherwise, you're not the bona fide spiritual master. Not an actively, you're not a deliverer. That's why many of Prabhupada's disciples are still not delivered yet, because he didn't bring that fully through. He saved that work for us, to complete it, to finish it, finishing work. And this has his approval for us to finish the work. For any of his disciples who has the intelligence to see what we're doing here is very real and very true. Okay? I am the way, he said. The real spiritual master is the way. See, what is the way? To those who worship the Lord with that life, that loving ecstasy is the life of the devotees, man. That's Radha. It's the life of Krishna. Isn't Radha the life of Krishna? You have to have possession of that life. Okay? And what happens? Oh, you get the understanding and the real knowledge to find your way through the Maya back home. Oh, and anybody listens to you, you found the real guru, the right information. Only they have that information. Only they have that understanding. Oh, only they have that real knowledge. Like Lord Chaitanya did. See? You see how practically the bona fide spiritual master is the way. See, their knowledge is the way because of love, engagement in loving ecstatic worship. Okay? See? They are the truth. See, the truth of that knowledge. They can even explain it to where you can understand it logically. God is a logical person, the most logical in the world. God is the most science comes from him. They the real devotee who is engaged in the loving service of the Lord, who is a real spiritual master, an acharya, they can explain all these things very clearly, more clear than anybody in the world. See? And you hear these explanations, man, do you get clean like a whistle? You'll be whistling Dixie, man. You want to be clean as a whistle? Isn't that interesting how that's another term of Krishna? See, you'd be clean as a whistle. See, a whistle is hollow, right? And it makes a beautiful sound like a flute. Where did that come from? Krishna, new revelation today. New word for our dictionary. Pizza. I think Freddie's our Madhu Mungal here. What do you guys think? What do you think, Amy? Is Freddie Madhu Mungal? He cracked some good ones, man. You see how this is all tied together? I love this, man. This is playing Scrabble. We're unscrabbling the words. We're playing unscrabble. Unscrabble Krishna consciousness where people can understand it truly. Unscrabble the speculations of these sannyasis and Brahmins and gurus speculating on what the divine potency is because they don't know it yet. They're like the Phariseers, right? The Phariseers who couldn't see very well. Yeah, I mean, he cracks me up too. Watch out when he starts talking dirty, though. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I have described one's relationship with Krishna in various ways. I wonder how that was. Let's see here. Let's go back a little bit. I'm going to go to the previous chapter. Chapter 21. Okay, this is called the opulence and sweetness of Lord Krishna. Text 2. All glories to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all glories to Nityananda Prabhu, and all glories to Advaita Prabhu, and all glories to all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If people can do that, if they can say all glories to the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that means to go out of the Abba stage, go into the stage of all glories to all the devotees who have received the spiritual relationship, have had the awakening of their spiritual bodies, those real devotees, all glories to the real devotees of Lord Chaitanya. See, then you can very easily transcend this material modes of nature. See, very easily. All glories to the real devotees of the Lord. See, but to do that, you often need a bona fide, again, acharya, spiritual master, to show you who are not fit to be praised like that. If you're concerned with the spiritual world, if you really want the spiritual world, you have to reserve your glorification with what is truly spiritual, and that's the devotees who have received the grace, the amazing grace and ecstatic worship of the Lord. See? It's amazing. See? So these bygone devotees were like that, but we don't know they're like that. Even though they're described like that, we don't know they're like that, because you got to see a living devotee and get purified. These sannyasis, these gurus, also need to be purified so they can, recognize those devotees in the scriptures and their real qualities. See? Otherwise, just speculating. They're just talking, and inside their hearts are still dirty. They're not cleaned. Only this loving, ecstatic worship cleanses the heart. Mhm. Okay? So that verse is so deep and so significant. So if people want to transcend the modes of nature, they need a spiritual living being in their life. Then, if you've transcended this, if you've had this real spiritual association with a real guru in a previous life, then you bring it forth in this life, and you can tell the difference between what is spiritual and what is material. Still, you can see who is still under the influence of Putana and is not a real representative of Vrindavan. And that's practically everybody. They're not over the Putana obstacle. Now is the time people have to prove it. Otherwise, there are a lot of secret hiding inside the dirty mind. The more the mind is dirty, it can be clean. It can't be clean. Can't be cleaned, yeah. Well, that's why if you come into the association of Pendra, of real devotees, the cleansing of the mind comes from the cleansing of the heart, which comes from Radha sweeping. See? Cleansing of the mind and heart. Radha sweeps inside. Okay? The devotion is like a sweeping agent, cleaning agent. It cleans the heart, it cleans the mind, makes it clear. Okay, I'm going to stop talking for a while. I'll see you guys later. I need to walk a little bit. Prescribed duties. Thank you very much for coming. I'll see you later. Yeah. So, Janaki, I'll give you a call a little bit in a little while.